Today I was out driving and I saw a little bumper sticker on the back of a car. It said USS Cole. And the USS Cole was a ship that was hit by terrorist attack a few years back. And it got me thinking about the USS Roberts. For some reason, I got them screwed up in my mind. USS Roberts hit his mine during Desert Storm back in the first Gulf War. And that was an incredible story, just thinking about how that ship stayed together and what they did to keep that thing afloat. And that's a different story. But that got me thinking hey, I was on a ship just before Saddam invaded Kuwait. And that ship was aircraft carrier USS Saratoga. And I had worked out a new job at Fleet Training Unit, and I was scheduled to transfer in August, right before the Saratoga went on deployment. It was heading over to the Mediterranean for Mediterranean deployment. So I was going over to Fleet Training Unit to train up all the people that were getting ready to go out to deploy for the next 4 years. I was going to be doing that. I was supposed to be on the Saratoga for a lot of that deployment. And inevitably, if I had actually sailed to begin that deployment, the president probably would have suspended most orders from there, and I probably would have stayed on there for the entire duration of that deployment, which was 11 months if I remember right. Usually they try to keep them 6 months, but that was the Desert Storm. They ended up going out there, Desert Storm went underway. But so I got off, like a week before the ship would set to sail, which was great. I loved it. It was, I was happy. I got off there. I was on shore duty. I was going to be, my son was just born. I had just made Chief Petty Officer, so it was time to move on. But before the fighting actually began, before the troops in January of '91, I guess it was, before they went and started engaging Saddam's group, before that happened, the USS Saratoga was in Haifa, Israel for liberty. And aircraft carriers are so big that what happens is they anchor offshore. And then they have these little boats ferry people back and forth. An aircraft carrier deployed has over 5,000 people on it. So that's a lot of boats going back and forth. Each boat holds about 100 people. And it keeps the boat crews busy, and it's really a tough thing to keep that going. So a lot of times when we pull into ports like that, we'll contract out for assistance. Local ferries, and this is what happened in Israel. They contracted out with a local, what they called water taxi. And late in the evening, the water taxi was coming back to the Saratoga. It was out there waiting for its time to tie up to the Saratoga. Because there were other boats there, they come up, they drop the passengers off, they move off. And while it was waiting, for reasons that aren't completely clear, that water taxi flipped over. Had a couple hundred people on board, 200, 300, I don't know how many people were on board. It was a big water taxi. And it went over that quick. When everything was said and done, 21 people died. 2 of them were friends that I would have actually been on liberty with. These were the types, because I wasn't a heavy partier, I was married, I had a kid. These were the type of people that I would have been out there checking out the sites with, going to the local restaurants, enjoying the heck out of it. And it just would have been a grand time until we got back. But I'm just glad that I wasn't on that cruise. I'm glad that I had maneuvered my way to getting off a week before the ship sailed for the Mediterranean. It was no slight task on my part to pull the strings necessary to get me off that ship. It was actually quite a coup. I did what I had to. I got off. I didn't want to be away from my family for 6 months. Turned out it was an 11-month deployment. That was a transaction today. I saw the sticker on the car. It said USS Cole. I, in my head, mistook it for the USS Roberts, which is mine. And then I transposed and remembered my shipmates that day that passed away in 1890, December 22nd. Was it an act of terror? No. Was it a bomb? No. Was it some unseen enemy? No. It was an accident. An accident. Bringing people back from Israel. They had a good time. They enjoyed the sights that day. Nothing happened to them on shore. And 22 of them died. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because they were in the Navy, and we always think of all the different casualties that happen. And it's tragic, all the casualties that are happening in Iraq. And I'm not talking to that, but even before, I was in peacetime. We had 1,000 people a year die from accidents. All right? Now, on the highways of the United States, every year, approximately 45,000 people die on the highways in traffic accidents. 45,000 people every year. Any of you out there could go to work tomorrow and be witness to or participant in some accident that would be tragic. You see accidents all the time on the news. You see them all the time, when you're flipping channels. So I'm just saying is just appreciate what you got. Appreciate today. Appreciate those around you. Don't put it off. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Appreciating what you have. And if you're sulking today because somebody yelled at you, or because it was too cold, or because you ran out of gas, or they didn't have the exact thing you wanted wherever it was you went to buy something. Oh. Slap yourself, all right? Just slap yourself. Because it's time to get out of that funk and appreciate what you have, not be whining about what you don't have or what happened to you today. There's a lot of good reasons to whine. There's a lot of good reasons to be angry. Everyone has to vent. But look at things around you and keep in mind that they won't always be there. I love y'all. Take care.